first day it's crazy, just hearing it is like, wow, I can't believe I got this, and then just the feeling is shocking. You just never knew it was going to come, and then you just got to keep fighting until the end.
So probably back in June, he had a little bit of a stomach pain, almost like indigestion. We had taken him to the pediatrician a couple of times. We didn't really think anything of it. Just seemed to be just acid reflux. And that kind of went back and forth a little bit for the summer, but he seemed to be fine. He played baseball, he played outdoor basketball all summer, just like a normal 10-year-old kid would. Then by about maybe the third week in September, we noticed that his, kind of his energy level had gone down. We thought it was just a 10-year-old just being lazy and wanting to play video games and watch, TV and whatnot. And soon after that, we just really noticed that, he had just no energy. His appetite had gone away, and his belly started to stick out a little bit. So we went back to the pediatrician. And the pediatrician had suggested us go and see Hasbro with an ultrasound, which we did on October 1st. And on the 1st, we went in. People at Hasbro have been great, but they immediately noticed that there was something wrong, which then they suggested us going directly over to the emergency room.
It was hard. You would touch it and his belly would be hard, and he would say in some spots that it would hurt. All that happened. He went to the pediatrician on Monday, went to the ER for an ultrasound on the Tuesday. By Friday, his belly, all the fluid was so bad that he was rushed down to the PICU to have a breathing tube put in, because his heart was trying to pump so hard to move all that fluid around.
And that's when everything really happened quick. That's when they started chemo.
Yep,
really,
chemo.
right away.
Yep, they put the breathing tube in on Friday. They did a central line on his neck because he was supposed to have a port, but he wasn't stable enough for that. So he had a central line put in. They immediately did a spinal tap to make sure that there was no lymphoma in the spinal tap, which was clear. They gave him a dose of chemo in there. They also tested his bone marrow, did the breathing tube, and then immediately started chemotherapy that night.
And he was officially diagnosed with?
Burkitt Lymphoma, which is a form of Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
That quickly...
It's a very fast spreading lymphoma, but it's also one that they could hit hard, and it's got a 90% survival rate. Just in the 48 hours of him having chemotherapy, they did a repeat CAT scan, and they saw a significant shrinkage, which around his lungs and around his heart, that's pretty much all gone. He just has a little bit left near his belly. He's got, in all, it's about 6 months of in and out of chemotherapy.
Okay.
So he'll be home for 2 weeks. They said, he will get a fever, you will have to come in, we will have to give you antibiotics, but then we'll send you home. So it's home for 2 weeks, back into the hospital for another round of chemotherapy that's a week long. Then I'll have another spinal tap. Make sure that's clear. Go home again for 2 weeks, for 6 months. Okay. So this leads us to March?
February,
March. And then we'll get him right back on that baseball diamond.
Just in time for baseball season.
Just in time for the baseball season.